So Cuba, huh? Whoopi Goldberg. I know everybody's standing on top of Whoopi Goldberg's shoulders, and now all the progressives. I mean, all the socialists and progressives on the national scene. It's just so much. There's too many. She needs to slow down with her socialist progressive movement because we're all standing on her shoulders, right? Which is what she told AOC. And now she's being a dick. This is a Sarah Silverman, you guys are being ridiculous kind of moment where it's a gut check, right? This is, why are you still in the race? Why are you still in the race? You think she would ever ask Joe Biden that? So, anyways, how did I get Cuba? So Cuba, you got Cuba, right? They, picked on Bernie because he said that they had a good literacy program. They got very good doctors, very good medicine, very good health care, lots of, medicine that we can use. They got the lung cancer vaccine, Simovax. 69-year-old Mick Phillips travels to Cuba every year to help his lung cancer. He spends $5,000 for an annual supply of Simovax, and the doctor's visit cost him $50. So the doctor only charged him $50. He's got to fly into Cuba, and I guess he's allowed to do that now, even though there's an embargo. I hear that the medical community, we're still talking, with their doctors and scientists, which is, that's genius, because there's a lung cancer vaccine out there called Simovax, and not only is there Simovax, people are asking if that hydroxychloroquine that Donald Trump had pushed, if that's like a magic drug. It's not a magic drug. It seems like it barely kind of helps the symptoms here and there. It seems like it's a marginal. It helps, but it's like in some cases, but in other cases it just gives you diarrhea. But we do actually have a magic drug out on the market. We have a magic drug out on the market. So China has picked 30 different drugs that they're using to treat their citizens, and one of those drugs that they're using is called Interferon Alpha 2B. So Interferon, IF. But apparently it's a molecule, so they just, take a syringe and shoot it into your skin. And the molecule goes into your skin, and then it does a number of things. It's been, used to treat a whole host of diseases. Interferon Alpha 2B. So they inject this molecule. They're able to, eventually synthesize it in bacteria so they can mass produce it. So they can shoot the syringe and it goes under the skin. It's a molecule. A brand is called Intron A. It's created by Luis Herrera Martinez, a Cuban doctor. So apparently China and Cuba got together, but it was Luis Herrera Martinez who actually invented Interferon Alpha 2B. His quote: "For the coronavirus generation, the world has an opportunity to understand that health is not a commercial asset, but a basic right." They developed the Interferon Alpha 2B during the dengue fever outbreak in 1981. So this drug has been out here for 40 years. So I don't know if we're getting, all this medicine that the newspapers are picking up, if we're actually getting all the science behind all of it. Because not only, there's also mothers they can stop the transmission of HIV and syphilis from mother to child. Too, this is Cuba. Cuba, lung cancer vaccine, stopping HIV, stopping syphilis, and then this Interferon Alpha 2B, it's a magic drug. It treats hepatitis, it treats cancers like hair cell leukemia and myelogenous leukemia, HPV, herpes, lymphoma, carcinoid tumor, Behçet's disease, melanoma, Behçet's, Behcets, age-related Kaposi's sarcoma, genital warts, hepatitis A and B. So this Interferon Alpha 2B is like their main drug that they're saying, okay, try this first. Try Interferon Alpha 2B. So Intron A. So that's the brand name, right? So it's a magic drug. We have a magic drug that's out there to treat coronavirus, and it's in the hands of the Cubans. And then we have an embargo in Cuba. Maybe we're talking to the scientists. Maybe we're talking to the doctors. Cuba right now is sending teams of doctors all throughout Latin America. So all throughout Latin America, right? Just pick countries: Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Colombia, Panama. They all got Cuban doctors. Cuban doctors there. They sent Cuban doctors to China. Italy's got Cuban doctors. God, Cuban doctors are, some of they're in high demand. I mean, they're one of the big. I mean, what is in a bigger demand right now than a Cuban doctor? So interferon alpha 2B, it's an antiviral. It's an anti-neoplastic drug. So interferons are just groups of proteins that are naturally produced by human cells of the immune system in response to infection by different pathogens. So interferons are a group of proteins that the body produces naturally. So human cells are what produces interferons. There's two types, alpha and beta. Type 1 is alpha and beta. Type 2 is gamma. So there's three types. Anyways, May 28th, 1981, this is when the first Cuban interferon was created. And this is Herrera. This is Luis Herrera Martinez. So Luis Herrera Martinez cloned IFN, which is what shorthand for interferons. He was able to clone an interferon based on bacteria in a fermenter, and he got a 99% pure product. So, May 28, 1981, Cuban scientists made the first Cuban interferon for dengue fever, also for an epidemic of hemorrhagic conjunctivitis, hemorrhoid conjunctivitis, and it worked, okay? So it successfully worked in China. It's worked in Cuba. It worked for the dengue fever. It's working for the coronavirus. So that's for the hydroxychloroquine. There's only about 20 or 40 people that tried it, and it worked for them. So I'm not going to just say, okay, it works for everybody. This thing is doing it. Who knows? Maybe it, just strengthens the body's immune system, and the body fights it off, by itself. So until we know for sure, that's why they say it takes a year, and, the vaccines. Why would we assume a vaccine is even possible? I don't know. Interferon is a way to treat it. I don't think it's a vaccine, but it's a way to treat it. And it's something that China is using. China's numbers are going down. So the Cuban doctors are in Italy right now. Everybody loves these Cuban doctors, and they are helping more than every other nation in the world. Cuba is helping the entire world with the coronavirus epidemic, and they're just a population of 11 million. Colorado is half the population of Cuba. How come, we're not sending Coloradan doctors all over the place? We're not sending Coloradan doctors to, go defend Grenada and Angola and, Somalia and all those African nations to overthrow apartheid government, which is what, anyways, that's, so yeah, that's the interferon. This is interferon alpha 2B. Interferon alpha 2B. The Cuban interferon, the Cuban molecule, the Cuban miracle wonder drug, the Cuban magic wonder drug. So interferon alpha 2B treats a ton of stuff, and it seems to work. It's one of 30 drugs that China has picked. It's the main thing that Cuba, says, here's what we got in our arsenal. Why don't you try this first? And it's been around for 40 fucking years. 40 fucking years. There's other things, the lopinavir. So these are just other drug names that, perhaps would be useful to a scientist. If you're a scientist of the world, if you're listening to this, these are other leads. These drugs. There is also mRNA immune therapy. So they're not doing vaccines where they actually put like a live or a partial virus in you. They're using mRNA immune therapy, messenger RNA. Somehow they're doing some shit with messenger RNA. There's also favilavir, remdesivir, Umifenovir, ribavirin, lopinavir, ritonavir, hydroxychloroquine, chloroquine phosphate. Now, just because there's chloroquine phosphate or some ingredient in fish tank cleaner, don't ingest. Do not drink your fish tank cleaners. Don't drink bleach. Don't drink, Ajax and fish tank cleaners. None of the cleaners. Don't drink any cleaners. Don't even drink Windex. That's not going to clean out your system. It's not going to help. It killed one guy. So let's, chloroquine phosphate. It's shown promise. Hydroxychloroquine's shown some promise. But I think that if I was a doctor, I would go straight for this interferon alpha 2B. I mean, alpha, right? Interferon alpha 2B. That seems to be the, I would go there first. And also notice that hydroxychloroquine, this is going up. The prices are going like sky high in Africa, like 500%, but it's, started out a quarter. But somehow in Africa you could go around getting hydroxychloroquine. You can't buy, this is why Americans are, drinking fish tank cleaner. So hydroxychloroquine, the prices went sky high to all, $2.15. Which is nothing. So people are buying it, and people are saying they're stockpiling and they're buying too much, and so people that actually need to use it can't use it. Fuck that. That's bullshit. It's $2. If it's only $2, that means they're paying, fucking pennies on the damn thing. People need this shit right now. Start churning it out. Start getting these factories. Start churning out the hydroxychloroquine, because if it works for coronavirus, what? Oh, no, the diabetic people need hydroxychloroquine. What are you going to say, that the people with coronavirus deserve to die but not the diabetics? No, nobody deserves to die. So first come, first serve. We're trying to save everybody here. So hydroxychloroquine, that's only like $2.15 in Africa, and I don't even know, I don't think you could get it in America. Maybe I should check it out, see if you can get on like Amazon or some shit. But it doesn't sound like it'd be a over-the-counter, medication. So it'd have to be prescribed. You probably get most things prescribed, but I'm thinking over-the-counter. Is it like an over-the-counter thing? No, you got to go to a doctor. They might have to go to a doctor too, but it just, $2.15 doesn't sound too much to me. But it also, it seems like it's plentiful. It seems like Africa has just a shit ton of hydroxychloroquine all over the place. Umifenovir, Umifenovir, favilavir, remdesivir, and chloroquine, phosphate, hydroxychloroquine, ribavirin, lopinavir, ritonavir, and the mRNA immune therapy, and then, of course, the alpha 2B, the molecule of all molecules, the king of all molecules, interferon, alpha 2B. And those are all the leads that I know so far right now for vaccines or for treating this coronavirus fucking SARS-2, this goddamn SARS-CoV-2. Last thing, thought this is a pretty good joke. Michael Jackson makes Pee Wee Herman look like Atticus Finch. So, And, so that's, we shouldn't have an embargo on Cuba. It's fucking ridiculous and bullshit right now. And you see why. You see exactly why you don't have embargoes. Not only what are we trying to hurt the Cuban people, the embargo hasn't worked. 50 years, 60 years, and we're trying to hurt the Cuban people, so maybe what? The embargo on Venezuela and the embargo on, Iran, that hurts the people of Venezuela and Iran. That's war crimes. We're killing people for political fucking points. They need humanitarian aid. And then also, just like a wall, when you block the Cubans out from America, you block America out from Cuba. So you block us out from lung cancer vaccines, HIV, syphilis medicine, and then this wonder drug that just takes care of, let me read that list again, hepatitis, cancers like hair cell leukemia and myelogenous leukemia, HPV, herpes, lymphoma, carcinoid tumor, Behçet's disease, melanoma, AIDS-related Kaposi's sarcoma, genital warts, hepatitis A, hepatitis B. How come we don't have interferon alpha 2B in everybody's medicine cabinet, you know? And why can't I get hydroxychloroquine? Now I want to live in Africa. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the interferon alpha 2B. The Cuban magic and wonder molecule that saves everybody from everything. It's 12:48, April 3rd, 2020, Friday. And I'm John Masters out of Southern Colorado. Peace!